Ohayou gozaimasu. Konnichiwa, minasan. Okay, sorry, still no internet, so we'll be doing recorded versions for now. Hopefully internet gets sorted soon. But today we'll be continuing on with our Year 12 Kanji. And we're up to 8 strokes now. Okay, there's quite a few actually in 8 strokes. So let's get started. I would recommend you guys check out all the videos I'm doing in this series. I'm doing basically all, well not basically, I'm doing all the Year 12 Kanji. It's kind of hard to find a list for Year 12 Kanji, but I found one and I'm going off that. And I think it's a pretty good list. I didn't make it, but hey, I'm going to use it. Alright, let's get started. Okay. Alright. So we've got a list of them here. Here we go. Okay, first one probably a lot of you will be pretty familiar with. Okay, we have kane desu ne. Kane. We should also learn kin, of course, to this, but I think most of you will probably know kin by now. So kin yobi, for example. Okay, and we've also got lots of words which are to do with money. Okay, ryo kin. So this is a fee or a charge or something. Now, the also other thing to keep in mind with this kanji, when we're looking at kind of going beyond Year 12, is that this kin, when it's a radical, right, on the left-hand side of the kanji, it kind of means metal. So you'll see lots of different metal kanji will have this on there. So like steel, iron, all these kind of words. So it's really good to learn this as a radical. Okay, next one is ao. Okay, ao. And this is blue, but we'll also see it's green. Okay, so this is kind of important to remember that the story behind why this is kind of interesting. I would recommend you look it up. It's kind of from Nara Jidai, but it's kind of important because we see there's some prefectures. For example, Aomori-ken. Okay, so maybe you thought, well, blue forest prefecture. Might seem a bit weird, but if you know that this means green forest prefecture, okay, this kind of makes a bit more sense. Okay, but words we're going to see this a lot in are ao shingo. Alright, so we would think of it as the green light of the traffic light, but in Japan it's a blue light. Okay, and they actually change the bulb as well. So a bit of a weird one, that one. Yeah, it's probably worth learning this as sei, but really ao. Okay, this is the big one we're going to need for this word. We've got like aoi shatsu, alright, a blue shirt. Kind of like what I'm wearing now, not really though. Okay, next one, probably a lot of you familiar with this, ame. Okay, this is our rain kanji. Okay, and yeah, pretty much just ame. Okay, ame ga furu, for example. Now, this is again a really handy one to learn for its radical, okay? Because we see words like electricity, right? Denki. The den from Denki has this in there. And, you know, all these kind of weather effects. Like kaminari, like lightning. Kiri for fog. Some other ones. Kumo, or kumori, I guess, for cloud. Okay, so lots and lots of yuki, I guess, as well, for snow. Alright, so lots of weather effects have this one. Good to learn it. Okay, next one. Again, probably pretty familiar with a lot of you. So we have, probably a lot of you will read this as gaku. But remember, we can't really read kanji by our onyomi. So actually we should read this kanji as manabu. Okay? Now this is actually a word I find a lot of students don't know. Manabu. And it comes up regularly, I would say, in Year 12. Okay? Manabu. A lot of you would learn this kanji as gaku, for example, from, you know, gakko, gakusei. And that's a fine way to, I mean, you have to know that one, for sure. But just to keep in mind that it's got a verb as well, manabu, which is to learn something, okay? You know, sensei ga oshiete, gakusei ga manabu. Alright? But, you know, study learning, basically, alright? And, yeah, we notice the way I should always try and I always forget to talk about the mnemonics I use. But for this kanji, I mean, of course, on the bottom we have child, right? Kind of makes sense. And then I used to imagine like this thing on the top with the three kind of things coming into is like the, you know, the knowledge going into the head, right? So there's knowledge coming into the head, and then there's a roof, okay? That's actually a roof kanji that like kind of square bracket that's sitting on the top. Okay, so you know the kids are in a school building, so obviously they're under a roof. Okay, so gaku manabu. Now we've got a word here, ryugakusei. Alright, so our exchange student. Alright, now this ryu is not year 12 kanji, but this word can come up even if it's written in hiragana. Okay, good one to learn. And of course, I guess I should point out we've got a changing pronunciation, but most of the time, by the time people are at year 12, they know this word as gakko. Okay, but keep in mind that the actual reading of this kanji is gaku. Okay, which is why we have gakusei. Okay, next one. Alright, this one we pretty much just have to learn for the word Kyoto and Tokyo. Okay, just two proper nouns. This kanji actually means capital. We see here it also means a number, just don't worry about that as well. But just keep in mind that some kanji were used as shorthands for large numbers. Okay, but this is like a Japanese measuring system. You definitely have to know this. Alright, so Kyo. This is basically good enough. Now, Miyako, this actually means capital, but I highly doubt this word will ever come up in year 12. Alright, we've got another word as well. I was kind of debating whether to put it down, but it's Jokyo. Alright, and that means going to Tokyo. Might as well put it down now that I've said it. Jokyo. Okay, kind of a good one to remember this Jo kanji as well, but this just means going to Tokyo. Okay. Next one, right, Kuni. This is one I notice a lot of people often make a mistake with, okay? So we've got two readings, we have to remember this. Our onyomi is koku, and our kunyomi is kuni, okay? And this means country. Now, there's a few words I think, really, because this is how you get good at kanji, alright? It's very hard to remember this part, okay? Just to kind of have this kind of photographic memory, unless you're like that. I'm not, for sure. But it's very hard to have this photographic memory where you kind of go, okay, what does the country entry look like, okay? And you're trying to remember that way. The much better way is just to remember a few words, because first of all, you'll learn some words, which is always good. So this is going to improve your speaking and your listening and of course your reading. But it's much easier. I just think our brains generally work in this way, where it's much easier to affix something to a concept like a word rather than just kind of bland information like a dictionary entry. So we have Gai Koku Jin, okay? Notice the pronunciation there. Gai Koku Jin, okay? And similarly, so this is a foreigner, of course, sometimes it gets shortened to Gaijin, but it's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's rude, but you're expected to say Gai Kokujin in year 12. We also got Kang Koku, okay, our word for Korea. Now, don't make the mistake of saying Kang Goku, okay? This means prison, so don't say this. Kang Koku. And this is specifically South Korea. And we also have Chugoku, okay? So notice here we have a dakuten, bit of a dakulon here on the ko. Okay, so this is a bit of an exception, alright? Normally, the kanji, as we see here, is read as koku. So Chugoku, bit of an exception. But this means China. Okay, our center country. Back in the day, China definitely was the center of Asia. Okay, next one. Alright, so we've seen this just previously, but this is Higashi, okay, our east, our compass direction. Now we also have to know this as To, but like I said, we just saw this in Tokyo, okay, so our east capital. Tokyo, east capital, right? Because of course, before Tokyo, there was a few capitals. I think Kamakura was a capital at one time, but of course the big, I guess, famous capital of Japan, the ancient capital, used to be Kyoto, okay? And the Kyoto, we just saw before, but Kyo, capital, To means like a city or a metropolis. Nara as well, I believe, was also a capital. So Tokyo desu ne, Tokyo. Alright, so notice we got a long U sound here. Tokyo. Tokyo じゃなくて Tokyo. Okay, 次行きましょう. Alright, next one we have is our younger sister, okay? Now, oops, let me just put this on the next line. Our younger sister. Okay, so we have to know both the readings, mai and imoto, alright? Now, of course, imoto, imoto-san, this is our younger sister, someone else's younger sister, respectively. And basically, just learn that word and shimai, alright, for sisters. Shimai. Alright, now this, I hear actually Year 12 students generally know this word pretty well because this word like sister school comes up quite a lot, like Shimai ko. Alright, so I know, but generally schools in Australia at least, which have Japanese programs, tend to have some kind of relationship, a sister school relationship with a school in Japan. So this is a word that comes up quite a lot. Okay, next one we got is ane, alright, our older sister. So how do we tell the difference? Well, first of all, notice we've got woman on the side of both of these. So it's the right hand side that we have to worry about. Now, I always used to say to myself, this is my mnemonic, that when we look at this right hand side of this older sister kanji, it kind of looks like a big hulking person, right? Like arms like hanging down and broad shoulders, you know, like, so this is a big hulking older sister, and then the one that's not that is younger sister. Okay, this kanji on the right also has a meaning as well, but it's kind of above Year 12 level, so let's not worry about that. But yes, we just want to know this as she. And if we think back to our previous videos where I looked at, how many strokes was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so our 5-stroke video, this was shi, alright, our city kanji. So, of course, this is why learning these kind of fundamental kanji is so good, because we see when they appear as part of like parts of more complicated kanji, a lot of the time they'll maintain the same onyomi, okay, the same Chinese pronunciation. So just kind of 2 for the price of 1 is what I'm getting at there. Okay, next one, alright, nagai desu ne, nagai. Now, a lot of you will probably know this as nagai, but maybe not so many know this as cho, but this is definitely a reading we should be aware of. Now we see it means kind of long, which is, again, a lot of you will be aware of, but leader, okay? This is the kind of secondary meaning of this kanji that we want to keep in mind, okay? So we can have a sentence like this, ashi ga nagai, right, long legs. But, you know, words like this are really good to know. Kocho, right? Actually, I probably should say kocho sensei, alright, but you can say both words. But kocho, this is our principal of our school. Remember, the principal is our pal, if you want to know the spelling for that. But kocho sensei desu ne. We can have this in many other words to show the leader of something. So, for example, we have kicho. ちょっと難しいですけどね。kicho. Okay. And this is our airplane pilot, captain, I guess. So it comes from the word hikoki. Hikoki. Alright, so kicho. But you don't really have to know that one. Okay, next one. Again, one that probably looks pretty familiar, but we should need to know 2 readings for this. So koto and ji. And I was kind of wondering which of these is best to learn. I think it's probably best to just kind of keep all these English meanings in mind. They're all pretty handy. And for example, shigoto, alright, work or a job. And technically this is generally full-time work, okay? If we want to talk about a part-time job or whatever, arubaito desu ne. Arubaito. And shokuji, okay, this is just a meal. So, you know, if we think about it, taberu koto, just kind of taberu koto, right? Eating some food, shokuji. But this ji comes up in lots of different words. Okay, tsugi ikimashou. Alright, this one. So, 2 readings we should learn, mono and butsu. Okay, mono and butsu. So, again, very similar to that kanji we just looked at, koto, just this kind of generic word for thing, object, or a matter, I guess, but really thing or object will get us by. So for example, we can have doubutsu. Doubutsu. これは動くという感じですね。これはまあ、あと、いつくんですかね。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9 Trying to find where it is in my little list here. Try not to squint. I don't like squinting. Yeah, nakatakke. Okay, I thought this kanji was in that list. I should probably add that in there. But anyway, ugoku. Okay, so to move, and mono, a thing, right? So ugoku mono. So this is our animal. Okay, ugoku mono. 動物ですね。まあ動物病院とかよく使われます。Okay, tabemono desu ne. Tabemono. Alright, so this is just to help us practice our mono reading. Tabemono. Tabebutsu janai desu ne. Okay, next, sha. This comes up in a few words. Really, it just kind of acts like a suffix on the end of certain jobs and things to say it's like a person who does that thing or a person of that class or whatever. So it's worth learning sha and mono for this one. And yeah, it just means a person. So we got words like isha. Alright, this is our doctor. And wakamono desu ne. Wakamono, so young people. Okay, next one we have our sky. Okay, so basically sora is sky. So let's look at my eye. Contacts playing up. Sora. And also read this as cool. Okay, so for example, the word this most is going to basically the only reason you have to know this kanji is for this word cool. But generally I like to say, hey, remember this word instead. Kokusai kuko. Right, so our international airport. Kokusai kuko. Right, helps us remember our koku kanji as well. You're not going to hear many Japanese listening talking about domestic airports. Okay, it's always going to be about international. But just for completeness, it's kokunai kuko. Anyway, all right, but we could also say something like this, right? Sora ga kirei. Now there is some other meanings of this kanji: empty, void, vacant, all this kind of stuff. I think it's a bit advanced for year 12. It's kind of unlikely, I think, to come up. I'm not sure I've ever heard this verb get used in this way, but it is very commonly used in Japanese. So perhaps if you're thinking about JLPT study, for example, you'd have to know this other reading. Okay, next one we've got Skal desu ne. Skal, often confused with skuru. Okay, Skal, to use something. Now it's also worth learning this onyomi, I think, for here. But yeah, this kanji just means use. So we have words like shiyo, which is, I guess, utilize. Basically means use. Shiyo shimasu, I'll use it. And also we got a word like this, kotoba tsukai. Kotoba tsukai. And kotoba, this is our word for language or speech. So kotoba tsukai is just kind of a language way of talking, I guess. Not really a way of talking. It just means language or speech. Way of using words, kind of thing. Okay, oops, went too far, didn't I? Oh no, I was right. Okay, so mise desu ne. Most people I think are getting pretty familiar with this word by the time we get to year 12. Also though, ten, okay, of course, tenin-san. Tenin-san, alright, our shopkeeper. Tenin-san, often, yoku arimasu ne, listeningu ni wa. Tenin-san to お客さんが喋っています。話しています。Okay, now this one, I'm only kind of putting it in here because it's in a list. It's not super important to know this one, I would say, but it does come up a lot in Japanese, but it's not super important to be able to read this, I think, for year 12 purposes. But it really is, we can see it means bullseye or mark, it means a target or something. I don't think I ever heard it get used this way in year 12, but particularly it's useful as the adjective ending, okay? And this is kind of the only way you have to know it. I'm not sure why I did mato. I doubt mato will be coming up. Mato just means target. But teki, okay? I think teki is good to learn. And so what we see is we put it on the end of certain words to kind of add a ALY to those words. So here we got, should probably write this down. We got Rikeshi teki desu ne. Rikeshi teki. Rikeshi teki. Now, Rikeshi is history. Rikeshi teki is like historically. Okay, it kind of does this for a lot of words. It's not super important to know this though, but just for completeness, basically because it's on the list, I put it here. And it's not like it doesn't come up, but in terms of priority, I would make this kind of a lowish priority, especially being able to read it. If you understand what adding teki to words means, I think that'll be enough, to be honest. There's other things you should probably be studying first. Okay, te. Now, basically, let's just put this down this page. Basically, we only have to know this word for this word. This kanji for this word. Yotei. Okay, this is a schedule or a plan or something. Alright, I mean, I was even kind of like, I didn't even think any of these English meanings are super useful for Year 12 purposes. But I guess we should learn one of them, which is determine, right? But that's more this verb, sadameru. But I guess it is kind of meaning determine in a word like yote, but, you know, yote, just think of it as schedule or whatever. But sadameru, you know, good word to learn for this, but it's not really a Year 12, it's definitely not a Year 12 word. Okay, now we've got our kind of stay over kanji, overnight stay, put up at. I guess I should also put this in here. Ippaku Mika. Oops, Mika じゃない。2日。Come on. Gotta work on my Japanese typing. Okay, so we really should learn both haku plus our transitive and intransitive tomaru, tomeru. But really, shukuhaku, this is kind of accommodation or lodging. We've seen this. This is shukurai no shuku ne. Yado という字ですけれども. And you can see here, yado ni tomaru. Alright, so staying over at a lodge. And we also see it as a counter, okay, for counting the amount of nights that you stay somewhere, for example. So very common you hear ippaku futsuka. Ippaku futsuka. So 2 days and 1 night. Okay, you go somewhere, spend the day there, stay over at a hotel or whatever, also stay there the next day and then leave. Okay, ippaku futsuka desu ne. Now if we think back to our shiroi, shiro kanji, which was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, in our 5-stroke video, we saw that was also read as haku, okay? And we can see that the shiro kanji is on the right hand side there. So, haku. This is why learning the fundamental kanji is really handy. Okay, this one, bit of a strange one. Basically, we just have to know this as ken. It's the only reading for it anyway, but ken, and it means a ticket. And it's really just put as uses a suffix, okay? At the end of a word to say a ticket for that thing. So for example, nyujouken, this is just an entrance ticket, an entry ticket, entry permit, or whatever. Now, keep in mind that the actual word for ticket, kippu, which a lot of you will be familiar with, doesn't contain this kanji. So a bit of a weird one. Alright, but just ken. So whenever we hear ken, we either want to think of a prefecture or a ticket. Both of these things. Okie dokes. Next few, I think that's about it, yeah. So we have, これはね、Togoro ですね. Togoro. Alright, now we also have to know this as sho, okay? And basically it means a place. Actually, came across this the other day in my own study, but it was something like, I can't remember now, but basically it's a place to do things at. This is really what this kanji means. Well, we have, for example, daidokoro, okay? Now, daidokoro is a kitchen, but kind of specifically it's a Japanese style kitchen. Okay, what's the difference? It's kind of hard to say, but it's kind of a Japanese style kitchen. And I always normally say that if you're talking about like a wide open Western style kitchen, you know, with like a island, you know, just a lot bigger with an island in the middle where you can prepare stuff on and all this kind of stuff, different sinks and this kind of stuff, then that is a kitchen. Alright, so daidokoro, more of a Japanese place. Kitchen is a kind of a Western style place. Don't worry about the difference too much. It's really a nuanced thing. It's not like Japanese people are going to chastise you for using the wrong word. But daidokoro desu ne. We've got our daku on the top. And this one as well. Okay, this is like one of the most chronically understudied kanji, or words, I think, in year 12. But basho desu ne. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm guaranteeing you that this kanji is coming up on the exam somewhere. Okay, so we really want to learn this. Now this bar, I don't think this is part of our list, is it? Okay, but this actually just means a place as well. But actually, it's a hiroi tokoro desu ne. これは広いところという意味です. Right, a wide open area. Okay, so it's like basically place. Basho, just a generic word for a place. Okay, so this is kind of similar to our te kanji, our te kanji we looked at. We just have to know this reading of hyo and just kind of know that it means a table, a chart, or a diagram. Okay, so when you insert tables, I don't know if you can see it on here, but anyway, when you insert tables in like Microsoft Word or whatever, this is the kanji they use. But basically, we just have to know this word, okay? Happyo, happyo. Now this is just a presentation of some sort. Happyo desu ne. Okay, last one. All right, we have aruku. All right, this is one of these words. Pretty much everyone learns sampo, okay, to talk about walking or strolling. But just keep in mind, sampo. This is a noun, so we always have to say sampo suru. Okay, but of course, there's a verb for to walk, and that's aruku desu ne. Aruku. こんな感じですね。Aruku. And yeah, sampo. Bit of a tricky kanji, the sun. It's possible to come up, but basically I would say they'd have to give you furigana for the sun. But yeah, aruku desu ne. Okay, I think that's about it. Oops. I think that's about it. So yes, bit of a quick one again today. Unfortunately, yeah, no internet. So hopefully I'll be... It's actually, technically it's connected. But some problem with my internal wiring, I think. Anyway, hopefully we'll get that all sorted soon. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please check out all the previous videos about kanji in particular if you're interested in this part of Japanese for Year 12 study. I've created a playlist of it all, and it appears at the end of the video, so you can just click on those playlists, and then you're good to go. But if anyone has any suggestions for any other content they'd like to see, please leave a comment. Don't forget to smash that like button, and please subscribe, and then you get notifications from me. I kind of apologize about today's notification because I kind of set it, oh yeah, the internet will be connected, it'll be working after the date that they said it'll be working, but yeah, I was probably a bit too optimistic. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you around soon.